Your cat heard you. They just decided not to come. You called their name. You know they heard it. Their ear moved, or their tail shifted, or there was that almost imperceptible pause in whatever they were doing. And then nothing. They went back to staring at the wall, or cleaning themselves, or sitting in the exact spot they were in before you said a word, and you stood there wondering what you did wrong. Nothing. You did nothing wrong, but you did do something your cat was watching very carefully, and the response you got was not indifference, it was information. Think about the last time you had people over, and one of your guests made a point of not paying attention to your cat, did not call them over, did not reach out to pet them, did not make any of the moves that cat lovers instinctively make when they walk into a room with a cat in it. And at some point during the evening, your cat walked over to that person, settled near them, maybe even climbed into their lap. You have probably seen this happen more than once, and it probably made no sense at all. It makes complete sense. Your cat is not randomly selecting who deserves their company. They are not being contrary or difficult or making a point. What your cat is doing in both of those situations, ignoring your call and approaching the uninterested guest, is the same calculation run in two different directions. They are measuring pressure, and they move toward the lowest amount of it every single time. Have you ever noticed that your cat appears the moment you stop looking for them? That the second you sit down and open your phone and genuinely forget about them, there they are? That is not coincidence, and once you understand exactly why it happens, you will never chase your cat's attention again. Your cat knows their name. That much is confirmed. Studies that tested whether cats recognize their own name found that they do, consistently, across different voices, even when the name is spoken by someone they have never met. The response is subtle, an ear rotation, a slight head turn, a pause, but the recognition is there. Which means every time your cat does not come when you call, it is a choice, not a defiant one, not a spiteful one, a calculated one, made in a fraction of a second based on information your cat has been collecting about you for as long as they have known you. Here is what that calculation actually looks like. When you call your cat's name with urgency in your voice, the kind of urgency that creeps in when you have called twice already and they have not responded, your cat hears more than the word. They hear the pressure behind it, the need, the expectation. And for an animal whose entire sense of safety is built around being in control of their own movements and choices, that pressure is not an invitation. It is a reason to stay exactly where they are. Think about what happens on a Saturday morning when you're not trying to find your cat at all. You are making coffee, moving slowly through the kitchen, not looking for anyone, and your cat walks in, jumps onto the counter near you, and just stays there, not asking for anything, not performing, just present. That was not random. Your cat read the absence of pressure in your body and your movement and made a decision. This person is not trying to get something from me right now. This is safe to approach. Pay attention to this. The guest who ignores your cat is not more interesting than you. They are less demanding. Their body language is closed. Their attention is elsewhere. Their energy does not reach toward the cat at all. And that absence of reach is exactly what your cat was looking for before deciding to move closer. You are not less interesting to your cat than a stranger. You are more familiar, which means your cat has more data on what your attention actually feels like when it lands. And sometimes that data says, when this person wants me, it comes with pressure. So your cat waits for the version of you that does not, and that version shows up every time you stop looking. There is something that happens in almost every home with a cat, and it reveals exactly how precise this calculation actually is. The cat that ignores you when you call them from across the room will walk up to you unprompted 10 minutes later. Same cat, same room, same person, completely different outcome. The only thing that changed was you. When you called, you were oriented toward them, waiting, expecting. Your body was pointed in their direction, and your attention had a shape to it, the shape of wanting something. When they came to you 10 minutes later, you were somewhere else in your head, occupied, not reaching, and your cat, who has been reading your body since the day they arrived, felt that difference before you even registered it yourself. This is why the advice most people get, ignore your cat and they will come to you, actually works. Not because cats are contrary, because cats are drawn to presence without pressure. And the moment you genuinely stop trying, your presence changes, your body relaxes, your attention diffuses, and suddenly you are the most approachable thing in the room. Think about the last time your cat climbed into your lap while you were working, not when you invited them, not when you patted your leg and called their name, when you were deep in something, barely aware of your surroundings, offering nothing at all, and your cat chose that exact moment to show up. That was your cat choosing the version of you they like best, not the version that wants something, the version that simply exists. And here is what that means for every interaction you have with your cat from this point forward. The less you perform for them, the more they will seek you out. The more you let your presence be a place they can enter on their own terms, the more often they will choose to enter it. Your cat is not ignoring you. They are waiting for you to become someone they can approach without it costing them anything. Write in the comments, has your cat ever shown up the exact moment you stopped looking for them? Tell me what happened. Because what comes next is the simplest and most counterintuitive thing you can do starting today to completely change how your cat responds to you. The single most effective thing you can do is learn to want nothing. Not permanently, not in a way that means withdrawing or becoming cold or pretending your cat does not exist. In small, deliberate windows throughout your day, practice being present without an agenda. Sit in the same room as your cat without looking at them, not as a trick, not as a strategy you are running to manipulate them into coming over. Actually be interested in something else. Read, watch something. Let your attention go somewhere that is not your cat. Your cat will notice, not because they are monitoring you, but because the absence of pressure from your direction creates a kind of opening that was not there before. And then, wait. Most owners who try this the first time are surprised by how quickly it works, not because the cat suddenly decided to be affectionate, but because the cat was always willing to be close. They were just waiting for the version of the room that felt safe enough to move through. There is something else worth changing: the way you call your cat's name, not whether you call it, how. The urgency that builds after the first unanswered call is the exact thing that makes the second and third calls less likely to work. One call, low voice, no expectation in the body. If they come, they come. If they do not, let it go and try again later from a different energy entirely. A cat that learns their name means something calm and optional will respond to it far more often than one that is learned it means something is being required of them. The last thing is the most important. Stop measuring your relationship with your cat by how often they come when you call. That is a dog metric. It does not apply here. The better measure is how often your cat chooses to be near you when nothing is being asked of either of you. How often they appear when you are not looking. How often they settle into the same space without any invitation at all. That is the real number. And for most owners who make these small shifts, that number goes up quickly, not because the cat changed, but because the room finally felt like somewhere worth being in. Your cat was never waiting for a better version of you. They were waiting for a quieter one. Tell me in the comments, what does your cat do that made you think they didn't care, but now means something completely different? I want to read it. And if you want to keep understanding the signals your cat sends that most owners spend years misreading, subscribe. That's exactly what this channel is here to change.